Today we'll be discussing the case of Shamima Begum and how it shows a relationship between statelessness and race. Shamima Begum was British born. She was one of 3 Bethnal Green schoolgirls who travelled to Syria to join ISIL, the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, when she was only 15. Shortly after arriving, she married an Islamic State fighter and later gave birth to 3 children, all of whom died young. Reports state that she became involved in recruitment within the organisation. Then, in 2019, when she was found in the Al-Hol refugee camp, the UK Home Secretary removed her citizenship, arguing she could claim Bangladeshi nationality through her parents. However, Bangladesh has since rejected this, leaving her now effectively stateless. So what is statelessness? How can citizenship be removed? It can be removed for public good, if it wouldn't render the person stateless. It can also be removed if a person obtains citizenship through fraud, or if their actions could harm UK interests and they could claim citizenship elsewhere. In the case of Miss Begum, she had her citizenship stripped, but is now stateless. This is a breach of human rights for countries to leave someone stateless. The 1954 Statelessness Convention and the 1961 Convention on the Reduction of Statelessness prohibit arbitrary deprivation of nationality. Recognition of nationality serves as a key host to other rights, such as education, healthcare, employment, and equality before the law. People without citizenship, those who are stateless, are some of the most vulnerable in the world. I want to talk a little bit about what defines terrorism. Terrorism is defined as violence or threats used to advance a political, religious, racial, or ideological goal. It includes serious harm to people or property, endangering lives, public safety risks, or disrupting electronic systems. Any use of firearms or explosives counts as terrorism. This raises the question, is terrorism applied or perceived differently, depending on race or identity? The 2023 racist riots meet the quota of what is deemed as terrorism. Does society or the media refer to it as a terrorist incident? What is the social impact? In contrast, I want to introduce the case of Pavlo Lapshin. He was a white supremacist terrorist in the UK who stabbed a grandfather to death and bombed mosques in an effort to trigger a racial war in Britain's streets. Lapshin found Mohammed Salim, 82, going home after praying at his local mosque. The student approached him from behind and plunged him with a hunting knife. Now he is jailed for 40 years and recently has died in HMP Wakefield, 23rd of September 2025. I want to analyse and compare Shamima Begum versus Pavlo Lapshin. The law often appears neutral, but Shamima, being of a racial minority or dual nationality, had her punishment for terrorism affected, leaving her stateless, which is considered a human rights violation. Because minority ethnic individuals are more likely to have another citizenship, 2 terrorists can now receive very different punishments. It creates a 2-tier system. When some offenders are imprisoned, others are casted out and stripped of their rights. As we see it, does the law hold these punishments to a higher standard for Shamima due to all the social backlash? Does Islamophobia play a role in making her punishment statelessness in comparison to Pavlo? I want to talk a little bit about academic debate. Shamima Begum's story has critics debating how gender, race, class, religion, and belonging shape public and legal perceptions. It tackles what it means to be British in this climate, and how depriving citizenship affects a person's true sense of belonging and creates a hierarchy in the UK. It implies that some are considered truly more British. In practice, this can result in what critics refer to as a second-class citizenship. So what is the social impact, and what can we take away now from this discussion? Migrants often face the expectation of being the good immigrant, meaning they are only fully accepted when they meet certain standards. In Miss Begum's case, her lawyer argued that she was groomed as a minor, yet the public largely view her as responsible, and not their version of an ideal, innocent victim. Surveys even showed that 78% of British people supported revoking her citizenship, highlighting strong public backing for her punishment. In consideration of our social climate, this raises some very important questions about fairness. Would the public response have been the same if she were white? For maybe a call to action for her stateless identity to be erased? Or what if she was involved in a Christian nationalist group in Europe? I want to leave you with this. This case highlights how our perception of race, nationality, and identity influence how citizenship laws are enforced and discussed in public discourse. Will you now think about Miss Begum and these topics that I've discussed differently?